freeway.
Fog is so thick, no ambulance can get through yet.
I don't want to have this baby in your car!
Why is my star resident in handcuffs?
I don't think he did it alone. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Hey guys, so first off, my apologies on not covering What I Did for Love. I did cover the trailer for it, but I never covered the trailer for episode 24 and the episode itself. The episode was a crossover with Station 19, which was hyped to be a really important crossover. I did watch the episode, but I had a lot going on that weekend. Again, my apologies on not reviewing it. But I feel that Station 19 is a very bland show, especially for a Shondaland show. I just don't have any connection to the characters of Station 19. I feel that it's just very boring. I know that a character did just die in season 2 of Station 19, but for me, the impact was minimal to none at all. And the crossover part of Station 19 with Grey's Anatomy in the Station 19 portion of the crossover was only Kelly McKeary. And I love Kelly McKeary, but her presence alone wasn't enough for me to stick through the full hour because, you know, there was like 3 or 4 characters from Station 19 on Grey's Anatomy, including Ben, but, you know, Grey's Anatomy was more of the crossover. I mean, saying, oh, one character crossed over to another show, I guess it is a crossover by default, but it's not the interesting crossover. You need, you know, like a plethora of characters because I like Kelly McKeary, don't get me wrong, but as I said, her presence alone isn't enough to make me want to watch it. But What I Did for Love did introduce a storyline that was present in this episode and that is present in the season finale, which is that Meredith did something that could destroy her career, which was she put Ellis's name on the little girl, I believe her name was Gabriella, on the insurance that the father could have the surgery covered for, which is a crime, it's fraud, and Meredith could lose her license and go to jail. And essentially, the punishment for that crime has been revealed in this episode, and the consequences of who the punishment is going to has also been revealed as well. And now let's talk about Drawn to Blood, which I have to say is probably one of my favorite Grey's Anatomy episodes of season 15. Season 15 has been very, very slow, which is unfortunate. It's been a little boring. There's been some really good standard episodes like episode 12, episode 9, but then there's been some really, really, really slow episodes. Like so slow where you're like, what am I watching? Like what? Like it gets to the point where you're like wondering, why is this show still on? And then you have an episode like this where you're like, this is why I still love the show, and this is why this show has been on for 15 plus years. So I have all the photos I have, which you can see, and I want to just kind of go through them. I want to go through the storylines by character. So we'll talk about one of the B storylines, which was Maggie and Jackson, and essentially Kelly McKeary just gets to be hilarious, and we know that that Maggie hates hiking. It's very obvious. It's hilarious. I love the chemistry between Jesse Williams and Kelly McKeary. I like the ship of Jackson and Maggie, and at the end of the episode, Maggie gets a text that Teddy is in labor, but then it starts to rain. So overall, just the interactions between the two of them was really, really fun, and I overall enjoyed them quite a bit. Teddy was working a lot with Alex, which I really liked. I really like the chemistry that Kim Raver and Justin Chambers have. I think it's very natural. It's professional, which is, you don't need to have like a hot chemistry like you do with, I think that Meredith and Luca have, but you can still have like a professional chemistry where you at least know the actors like each other, and that acting then reflects because their characters have to be professional to each other. So I really did enjoy Teddy working with Alex on the Golden Blood storyline. And honestly, I have to say, without Arizona, I've said this many times, I feel that Alex's Pete storylines are a little boring, but here I fell for it. I really did like it. Now, under the umbrella of Alex's storyline, we have the kid who's sick, Gus. His father broke his butt, and because Dr. Kim from the prior episode, I believe, or the 2 episodes before that, he lost a patient, and he was kind of just being a jerk, and Weber tried to make him feel better about it. That was Weber's really only pinnacle thing throughout this episode, was to make Dr. Kim feel better, but Dr. Kim just is kind of an ass. Honestly, I don't like the character. I think Alex Landy is a very boring actor, and I think that Grey's Anatomy needs to get rid of him very soon. And we're going to talk about Alex Landy in the trailer review for next week as well too. But so Dr. Kim was dealing with the father, Gus's father, as well. And I just really was focusing on Gus and his mother and Kim Raver. I always am a big fan of Kim Raver. And then alongside Gus's storyline, the Golden Blood donor has appeared, and she has many phobias. And poor Glasses, who I'm not a huge fan of, but he did good here. He came to collect her to get her to the hospital. She wouldn't go because her therapist was taken into customs. Horrible. This show has fantastic representation and fantastic political points that it can point out very seamlessly. This was just like, oh, he's Arab, got to be arrested. I didn't like that. It was very abrupt and very unneeded. But her poor therapist was taken into customs, and then Glasses trying to deal with her, and then we have Owen come to calm her down, and eventually he does, and Glasses and Owen were able to take her and put her in a car. But then there's a bunch of fog that swarms around the city. I find it hilarious that of the natural elements the show hasn't used to cause problems is fog. I mean, they've used fire, they use rain. I don't think they've ever used snow. They've used an earthquake as well. But I just kind of find it hilarious because fog just seems like such a passive element. Like, I mean, it's water, which is obviously rain, but it's just water is rain. You know what I mean? But I just find it hilarious that fog is now going to be like the umbrella problem, because I believe at the end of season 9 it was the thunderstorm that caused a lot of issues, and then the midpoint of this season was the hurricane, but that's a high force winds. And anyway, I just think it's interesting how fog is now causing problems. So anyway, with Owen, he and Glasses are able to get the woman to the car, and now they're on the way to the hospital. Then there's a bunch of chaos that ensued due to the fog. And I liked Owen's interactions with Glasses and the donor. They were quite nice. Then to spin off of that, we have Teddy, Amelia, and Link. Link really just wants an answer about Amelia. Makes sense. Chris Carmack, not my favorite actor on the show, but I do like him with Amelia. I think Link and Amelia have a really specific chemistry, and I like that Amelia was still like, Auntie Amelia. And speaking of Auntie Amelia, Teddy came to the conclusion that she needs to take care of herself and tell Owen that she loves him. We all knew this would happen. It's been obvious from day one. I can't believe anyone would think otherwise. And I really can't wait to see what happens. I'm assuming that she'll tell him when she gives birth, hopefully not in the car. So, Teddy, after her shift, goes to see Owen's house. She realizes that Karasik is too safe. I love Greg Germann as this character, but I feel that with Teddy picking Owen, and the show I believe is getting a season 16, he won't be in season 16 because he'll just leave due to Teddy being with Owen and Amelia being with Lincoln. It might be too awkward. They might have him back professionally in some capacity later, but I can see Karasik leaving. So the point is, Amelia and Teddy quickly talk, and then Amelia sees that Teddy's water is broken. So I like that Amelia and Teddy are in good terms too. And that was really Amelia's storyline as well. She interacted with Teddy, she interacted with Link. It was very, very quiet, but it was good. So now the other couple storylines to quickly talk about is we had many scenes of Meredith and Joe, and Camilla Luddington and Alan Pompeo. Fantastic chemistry. I loved it. And I loved how Meredith talked about drowning, and I also really love the opening scene, just speaking of Meredith, where there was that similar music from season 11, and she talked about many of her past tragedies and whatnot. And I loved how Joe opened up to Meredith, and Meredith was like, all right, we got to get you to the hospital. We have to get you a proper leave of absence. It was beautiful. It was just very strong, very powerful, and I really did like the scenes quite a bit. And then poor Alex still doesn't know, because at the end of the episode, Alex and Meredith with Gus were stuck in the time chamber because of the time chamber was used to heal Gus, hyperbolic time chamber. But then in the prior episode, DeLuca had told Meredith that he loves her, and that caused Meredith to kind of run. But more or less, she isn't running from DeLuca, because at the end of the episode, she's like, "Don't do anything stupid, Andrew. I care about you, and say I love you." Would have been a great moment too. So the trailer for this episode really hyped up some problem with Bailey and most likely Meredith, or possibly Joe. And it was aiming towards Meredith because of her decision in the prior episode. And here it came to a head where DeLuca was into the room. Bailey barely spoke, which is such a waste of Chandra Wilson. Just such a waste. So Bailey came into the room DeLuca came into the room that Catherine and Bailey were talking in, and then DeLuca essentially confessed to the crime. He went up to Meredith in the hyperbolic time chamber and told her, you know, it's his fault. And Meredith's like, no, you can't do this because this will ruin DeLuca's career. It was just interesting to have Debbie Allen and Chandra Wilson, who were such good actresses, do nothing all episode until the very end, and then to have DeLuca take the fall from Meredith. But that makes sense because he loves her. But the very same thing happened to Bailey in prior episodes, so they're repeating storylines. Bailey with Edwards. Bailey deactivated HIV. The parents didn't want the child to get the virus. I can't think of the child's name. It was in season 10, because I'm pretty sure Christina was still around. In fact, I know Christina was still around because Bailey confesses to Christina because she tells Edwards, oh, I just informed the board, and Christina gives her a high five. So the point is, Bailey did something bad, was blatantly obvious about it too. Like in this episode, in the prior episode, Richard was very aware of what Meredith had done. And then because Bailey, did such a great thing, Edwards, she took the fall without Bailey's, influence, and they both ended up, essentially getting like a happy ending for that season. And I see the storyline being repeated here where a resident is taking the fall for a superior because it's a less of an impact for him. But DeLuca, I guess, committed a strong... I mean, he committed fraud by putting, Alice's name on the information so the father could pay for the surgery. But Edwards did claim she gave deactivated HIV against the parents' wishes. So it's kind of like picking hairs, like which one's worse? It's like which one do you think is truly worse? In the end, I really don't think Meredith will lose anything just because she's such a valued character, and this is Grey's Anatomy. I mean, the hospital is named after her mother, and her sister. More or less, it's really named after Lexi. She's a board member with Derek's share and her share, so even if she lost her license, she would still be in the hospital, but I highly doubt that will happen. So this episode had a lot going with it. Like, there was a lot of stuff throughout this episode. Like, this review of the long one of the episode is over 10 minutes long, and I really enjoyed what I saw. So I really liked Drawn to Blood. It's a very strong, very powerful episode. So now let's talk about the trailer. And kudos to the people who cut the trailer for this episode, because we saw so many scenes. It was excellent. Every character got some type of close-up, which I really love. So the description for this episode reads, as fog begins to cover Seattle, the doctors must navigate through personal complications. Meredith and Alex attempt to save Gus, while Levi talks some sense into a struggling Nico. As I said in my review of the episode, we would talk about Nico real quick. Nico and Levi, I don't care for. I've said this in almost every review where these two characters have been involved with. I don't care for the characters. There's no chemistry. I think Alex Lindy isn't a good actor. And, I feel bad for Glasses. I think Glasses has a lot of potential, but I just don't think they have the right actor for him to be such a strong leading role. Or it's not leading, it's a supporting role, but even his supporting role isn't that great. So I don't really care about the storyline because I don't care about Nico's struggle. I really think that Alex Lindy needs to leave the show. I think Chris Carmack can still stay, but Alex Lindy gotta go. So, and then as the fog begins to roll in, the doctors must navigate through personal complications, and Meredith and Alex must attempt to save Gus, which is all shown throughout the trailer. And the trailer even has more things. The only thing the trailer doesn't have is Levi talking sense and Nico, which is probably going to be the most irrelevant part of this episode, which is hilarious. So we have Teddy and Amelia in the car going to the hospital in this fog, so they're not going to be able to get there in time. There's a good possibility that Amelia might have to deliver her baby, and there might be some complications. This also happened with April, where during a rainstorm, she was stuck at Meredith's house, and Ben had to deliver her baby. I believe that was in the end of season 12. So again, recycling some plot lines using weather to form a problem to have another doctor deliver another doctor's baby. I don't think Amelia will have to deliver the baby in the car, but it'll probably be a very, very close call. There was a shot of Link and Joe. It's what I mean, two. It was two kind of random shots. Essentially, it's Bailey talking to Joe about the problem, and then the same thing happening to Link saying it out loud to someone else. And I guess just the doctors, again, having to deal with the complications. But what I did like about the shots, even though they weren't like super heavy to like what those characters would be dealing with, again, it's nice to see these like really cool close-up action shots, because again, you rarely ever get that with these really short trailers. Like the trailer for Drawn to Blood was exceptionally short. And then we have the quick capture of Owen with the donor. And again, that donor is really important for Alex's storyline in this episode. And Owen is important because he's stuck in traffic and he's stuck dealing with the chaos around him. And the mother of his child is about to give birth and he needs to get to her. So that'll be a really cool storyline to watch as well. I like that was shown in the trailer. Then you have Jackson and Maggie dealing with the weather. Maggie needs to get back to Seattle or to the hospital anyway, because Teddy can't cover her service. And she's needed to help on the transfusion with Gus. So again, a very needed storyline. Poor Jackson, though, I will say, has been done very well, very, very little this season. And I know Jesse Williams has had some personal problems throughout this season. So I do wonder, and I feel like it's reflecting on him, like with his hair and with his face and everything. I think he's having a lot of behind the scenes issues, at least at home. But at least behind the scenes of the set, he got to direct his first episode recently, which is awesome. I believe he actually directed the crossover. So then you have DeLuca getting arrested. You have Weber. And I know he's in the background, and I apologize. I didn't get the other shot of him. But Weber goes, "Why is my star resident being arrested?" And so we're going to have, the fallout of people reacting to DeLuca, and will DeLuca get out of jail? Or will season 16 start with him in jail? Hopefully not. And then you have Meredith and Alex in the hyperbolic chamber trying to save Gus. More than likely there will be a problem where they're going to have to somehow get out of the chamber. I don't know how that'll work practically, but I like the fact that the episode prior, episode 24, ended with Alex and Meredith in the chamber, the besties together again, and then you're going to have Meredith dealing with her problem with DeLuca because DeLuca, as I said, confessed to her crime, which he shouldn't have done. But I do look forward to how Meredith will essentially be able to, keep her own job and keep, help DeLuca out as well. So overall, I really, really liked the trailer for Jump Into the Fog. I thought it was just beautifully cut. Lots of stuff to come out of this episode, and it's the season finale of Grey's Anatomy, and that will get its own review because there won't be a trailer for episode 26 because it doesn't exist. So overall, very excited to review the episode. I hope you enjoyed my review. It's very long of episode 24 and the trailer for 25, and I will talk to you guys about Grey's Anatomy real soon. All right, bye.